Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Brownstone. I'm Paula, and welcome to Brownstone's best, Brownstone's best business review. I just had to say that again because we're bringing on an amazing individual today who's going to be talking all about how your business can get the best support that it absolutely needs in every phase of your business. I'm really excited, first of all, to be talking about this concept and this business because Brownstone Worldwide literally has a team of folks that they work with as well. We don't just do it just one or two people at a time. We have a team of people that we work with who support us in every aspect, from advertising and marketing to web design and management, those kinds of things. And if you are a small business, if you are a burgeoning business, if you're just a business that is continuing to scale and grow, you absolutely are going to need Elly Virtually. Linda Ingram is here today to talk to us all about all things virtual support and everything else in between. I'm not going to call it virtual assisting because that ain't what it is. But let's get into this conversation with Linda Ingram of Elly Virtually. Let's go ahead and bring her up. Good afternoon. How are you, Linda?
I'm good. And Dr. Paulette, thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here on Brownstone Worldwide, and I'm just excited to share and learn. Thank you.
All right. No, thank you. And we're here to learn from you because Elly Virtually, first of all, is amazing. It's a necessary business component for business owners. And so I wanted to talk about that briefly. What would you say that Elly Virtually is?
So we provide online business management and business system strategy. To keep it simple, virtual assistant services, but we do a lot more than virtual assisting. Okay. Our ultimate goal is to give our clients the luxury of time so they can have the freedom and flexibility to focus on their passion or whatever it is they signed up when they took on their journey of entrepreneurship.
I love that. Whatever it is we signed up to do. And let's put this in perspective, because I love what you said about giving me the freedom of time. I said me. I'm talking about me right now. So I do have a team that I work with, and they are literally right now wrapping up issues of magazines and also wrapping up content and so forth, and making phone calls while I have the time to do this, right? And that is to help business owners and other people get their information out to the community. But it's not just about me. What I love about what you do and people in your space is I do have the time to do what I need to do. And that is so important. So in your head, when you first came up with the concept of Elly Virtually, why did you decide to provide this amazing service to so many?
Well, ultimately, I was already doing this in my corporate life. Executive assistant, operations assistant, project manager. Those were some of the different roles I was doing for somebody else, right? Mm-hmm. And absolutely nothing wrong with working for somebody else. Love it. I like to call it my paid internship.
Yes.
But for me, I just took my skills from there on my own. Yeah. I didn't like being confined to somebody else's roles. I wanted the freedom to move like I wanted to move. So which was one of the main reasons I left corporate and started my own thing. I love to travel. I had little ones that I wanted to be. I didn't want to have to ask for permission to go to honor roll ceremonies.
Yeah.
When I book a flight, I'm not checking the calendar first to see who's going to be in the office. I'm booking the flight and I'm going. So it was one of the main reasons I started it was because like I already know how to do this. I'm doing it in the office. I can do it from home on my own.
I gotcha. And in that space, how long has Elly Virtually been around? And then that's going to kick me to my next question.
Yeah, so December will be 7 years.
Wait, what?
7 years.
Wow.
When we started, when I initiated.
Mm, mm, that's amazing. Let's dig into that, because I think that that's important as well. One of the misconceptions, let's go here, is that virtual assisting, and that's a very loose term, because as you said, your business strategy, business management, and support from top level all the way down. And so when we're talking about virtual assisting, let's put this in perspective. Virtual assisting is not a new industry. That's number one. I think people need to gain that clarity. But for you to be around for 7 years, it is a much needed necessity for business owners, whether large or small.
Right.
But let's go here. Can we talk about, when we're talking about virtual assisting and the industry, let's call it just virtual executive assisting. When we're talking about this industry, let's knock some of the fallacies out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
You're cheap. It's cheap labor.
Mm-hmm.
You're only overseas. And there are no Black women or Black folks in this space. Let's knock those misconceptions out of the way.
Yep, we can definitely demystify that. It is absolutely not cheap, right? You have to be prepared for you get what you pay for, just
right.
Simply put. And so absolutely, yes, you can definitely get labor overseas. And, depending on your needs as a business, it can work perfectly for you. Like I've heard people like, I got my girl from the Philippines. I trained her. She's amazing. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
But a lot of the clients I work with, they don't want to train. They want you to come in and already have these skills. And so some other things that they avoid when they work with my team. My team is mainly US based, is that there's no disconnect in the communication barriers. Okay. There are some things that you understand. And as a Black woman, there are some things you culturally understand as a Black woman.
Absolutely.
I remember one time I was working with another virtual assistant brand, and she had some overseas workers, and they were putting together, just an example, they were putting together Christmas graphics, and there was a blackface Santa in there, right? Oh. They don't think nothing's wrong with that. They just said, okay, but, that's some of the things we would never pull up a blackface Santa.
Right. Yeah.
We might find you an authentic Black Santa, but we're not going to pull up a blackface Santa. Wow. So that's just some of the things that, there are plenty of, Black women in the industry that's here to support entrepreneurs. And we're here. We're here.
And that's amazing. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think people, again, I need to go back to this. You said it's not cheap. And you hear people say, oh, well, I pay $8 an hour for, pineapple staffing. Oh, I shouldn't have said that, but I did. Or I pay, this is my platform. If they want to knock it down, that's fine. Or I pay, $5 an hour over here, or we negotiate. In your space, you're not the only person that works in Elly Virtually. You have a team that gets the work, and as a business owner and as an employer, you have to make sure that your people eat as well, correct?
Right.
So do you negotiate? Do you have flat rates? How exactly does that work if a business owner were to come to you or a major corporation and say, hey, we really need your services? This is what my budget is, and this is what we need. How exactly does that work?
So personally, I don't do too much negotiations. My price is my price. It's and that's just because I know what value, what quality of work that I bring, and what quality of work Elly Virtually does. So if we're negotiating up.
Right. Okay.
So it's not necessarily too much to come down from. I do offer different packages. So it's something that if you don't want a monthly package, we can go down to, okay, I'll quote you just for this project. If this is just the one thing you need, I'll quote you just for that. So.
Okay. I love that. I love that. And if I wanted to work for Elly Virtually, what are some of the skill sets that we're looking for as someone who's bringing on folks to be assistants from? Let's talk about it, because I actually have your website up. You have some amazing services that you offer. So let's talk about your exclusive offers, and then I'm going to circle back to that question. Yeah. Creative design and offer launches. So graphic design, web design, course build out, sales funnel setup, self-publishing setup and distribution, ebook design and distribution. Oh, but wait, folks, there's more. Administrative and online business management, administrative support, customer management, operations management, project management, event management, and social media management. Holy cow. Wait. There's more. Scale up and speak up intentionally. System setup, standard operating procedures, SOPs. Yes. Process implementation, business systems analyses, and social media management. So we're not talking about putting a flyer together, are we?
No.
Not at all. I love it. And so when you guys hear me say this, neighbors, you're hearing professionals that are at work for you. And so let's dispel the myth that you can call up Elly Virtually and say, I got $5 an hour that I need to spend. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So is this a project by project basis? Like you said, you can do monthly, you can do different projects. Now, are you ever asked, number one, to go into an office and do hybrid work? Are you against that? What does that look like?
I have not been asked to come in and do hybrid work, but I do have clients when they do events. I do go on site and provide support on site.
Awesome.
For the event. I'm not necessarily against hybrid work, but
okay.
I love to not have to be so.
Right, I get it.
Like I'm doing this for the freedom and flexibility. So if I have to be somewhere every Wednesday, it would have to be like, okay, we got to make it clear that if something switches up, that it's flexible in that sense.
Okay. All right. Very good. Because otherwise, right, that part, yes. And if that's the case, then you might as well just go ahead and clock in. Now, I have seen some VAs who have, again, using that term loosely, some VA professionals who literally will go on site and they charge a fee for that. If I'm going to be on site, this is what it is. So when you are reaching out, this goes back to all of the services that you offer. When you are reaching out to those folks who work with you, are you looking for a specific thing because a client has already asked you, or are they already on staff ready to go? Are we going to have to wait a minute to find? How does that work?
Nope, they're already on team. So I have a small team.
Okay.
So I don't, when I think agency, I think hundreds, but we're a small team, 6 to 8 of us on the team. And we all just kind of bring a multitude of skill sets to the team.
Okay.
So it's kind of like when you come in already. So for example, if you're coming in and we're building out a course for you and that's all you're doing, I might have one person that does all the design and then another person that might come up with the copy. And then that same person or somebody else can then plug it into the funnel. So we've got our designs, we've got our graphics and all our elements there. Somebody just comes in and puts the pieces together and the funnel goes. So I'm not hiring somebody just for a specific person. When you start working with me, you've already got whatever you're hiring me for, we're already here. We already know how to do it. And that's the other thing. I don't take on any project that I can't do myself. I'm not, if you're asking me to do something I've never done before and I don't have the bandwidth to learn, I wouldn't take on that project.
So the other question that I have for you is something that I have experienced as a person that does advertising for folks. One of the misconceptions is if I'm paying you, you should be accessible to me at all hours of the night and day. How do you handle clients like that? Is that in your agreement? Is that something that, and we're talking about something that's so close to people's heart, like their business and graphic design and web design, and they may have an idea late at night. How do you stop people from trying to monopolize your time? Because it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Do you set that boundary up front? What does that look like before you sign on the dotted line and say, hey, this is what it's going to be?
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you asked that. So yes, in my agreement, it does have my office hours. And so it also says that I think we've got like 20, one business day to respond to an email. This kind of just, not that we're going to do the work. I'm not saying we're doing it one business day. I've got one business day to tell you, okay, this is when it's going to be ready, whatever the case may be. When it comes to having people stay within those boundaries, as I've learned, is that whatever tone you set at the beginning, that's the tone they continue. So I have clients that I will, I always have my phone on me. And if it's a quick thing, I'll text back, I'll answer. Like even if it's 6 o'clock, or I can say, hey, I'm at my kid's game right now, I'll respond back. Now, if I could do it over again, I would stay within my boundaries, because what happens is when you start responding to people outside of business hours, the moment you say no, it's a problem. And so I just advise anybody, don't step out your boundaries. And then I always find myself chastising myself for stepping out of, not sticking to my process and not sticking to my system, because now I'm like, okay, I'm letting you know that, hey, it's 9 p.m. I can't work on this. You should have said it this morning. I've asked you for it all morning, and now you want to respond, and I'm not online anymore. And then it's like, but so I need this, I need this, I need this, So if I can do it again, stay within your, like, for example, my Friday hours is, we are 9 to 12 on Fridays. I'm usually online till 2 or 3 o'clock. So it's usually not an issue, but don't call me Friday at 5 o'clock.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah. Because you have to literally set boundaries. And I'm learning that even in the Brownstone with some of the things that we offer, it's just been, or sometimes I just won't respond until I say, hey, I'm just now seeing this, even though I saw it 4 hours ago, because I've learned from coming from corporate, if you're not careful, you'll take on more and more and more and more. And in that, let's go here. When you're taking on more and a client says, well, I know we talked about this, but do you think you can da-da-da? Is that the time to go back to the negotiating table and say, okay, well, in order for us to do that, here's a caveat fee of X, Y, and Z. Okay, so you're pretty clear upfront.
Yeah. Again, if you set boundaries in the beginning, you say, yep, I can definitely do that. Let me get you an invoice for that. So again, like I'm just went through this like 2 weeks ago with one client where I always did the little things, like, that's outside of scope. And I was like, hey, this is my 3rd time doing this. This is outside of scope. I'll send you an invoice for it. It was a big uproar. He did not like that. And I was like, I did it the first 2 times as a courtesy. But I can't do it the 3rd time. Like I have to pay my team to do this. So you can either pay the invoice I just sent you, or you can do it yourself, So, but again, it's what I'm learning is that, not what I'm learning, it's what I know, but it's not what I actually execute, right? Because we do this sometimes. Is that even when you do something for somebody as a courtesy, send them an invoice and put the price and put a strike through. So they know that, okay, this should have cost X, Y, and Z. She did this to me. Because I think what happens is, as you continue to say yes, because, to me, I do this, I love it. So it's like, okay, whatever, I can do it. It's only 15 minutes here, or only 30 minutes, or maybe an hour. But I find that if they don't realize if they don't see the value or the number on it, they don't appreciate, or they don't,
Mm.
I don't know how to word it. They don't.
I get it. Yeah. And it becomes expected. And I think that, and then they believe that they can color outside of the lines. And again, I think that that impacts you as a business owner. And one other thing, I'm going to put this out here. Oh, let me see. Let me see how I'm going to put this. Let's talk about being a Black woman in this space. Have you found it to be a challenge to find projects? Even though I'm sure you do have projects, but have you found that you may have to do what we may have heard coming up? I know I heard all the time when I was growing up, you have to work twice as hard to get twice, just to get a little bit of what, XYZ may have or whatever. Have you found that you've had to prove your excellence a little bit more than maybe someone else may have to prove their level of professionalism or excellence? And how do you combat that outside of providing the level of excellence? Because first of all, ellyvirtually.com screams excellence. So you come out the box kicking when you say, oh, go to the website, right? What do you do in these instances where you have to literally show and improve over and over and over again?
I wouldn't necessarily say I've had too much of an issue of proving that. So it's like, I feel like most of the clients that work with me, I'm sorry, my camera's off. Most of my clients that do work with me, they refer other people to me because they do appreciate the level of excellence that they're getting here. So it's not necessarily challenging. But what I do find challenging in that space, and when you're looking at other women, not of color, other people in this space, what I do find is that they say their price and they stick to it, and they've got big numbers. So I think that, to me, that's that, when I look at some of these other women that do the same thing I do, and I look at their price tags, I'm like, wow, you're finding people that pay you this? So then my challenge is, where do I find these people at?
Right. I understand. Yeah. Okay. So what's in the future for Elly Virtually? Will you be adding to your team? Will you be...
So not necessarily adding to the team. Right now, we are looking to get more corporate partnerships. And I think that's where more opportunities may come in for the hybrid work, and just kind of help them build out some systems and processes that they're stuck with in their business as they're growing or as they're scaling.
Okay. And so with that, then let's talk about the elephant in the room that I think a lot of people need to understand. What should I, as a business owner, be looking for in hiring a team of virtual partners? Let's put it that way, right? So can you give me 5 things that our viewers, listeners, subscribers, and readers in the neighborhood can take away when they make the decision that they want to work and partner with virtual assistants?
Yeah, definitely. So I think, as the business owner, the first thing you need to do is be clear on your goals. You need to be clear on, what am I trying to accomplish? What is it that this person I'm bringing on is going to help me do? Are they going to help me bring on revenue? Or are they just simply here to save me time so I can spend more time with my family? And what is it that you want them to do? I think once you are clear on your goals, you need to be sure that that person is reliable, that they're definitely going to show up, right? You want to be sure not only are they reliable, but they actually know how to do the work. Whether you say, okay, I'm going to train them on exactly how I wanted to do it, or they come in and they already have the skills. They have those skills because you've done different tests and so forth, to kind of make sure that they come in, whether you gave them little small projects to do. Another thing that I think is very important is that you are in communication with them. I find that when you are up to date with your VA, whether you're, however you choose to, whether it's text, Slack, project management, communication is key, because
Mm-hmm.
you don't want your VA just sitting there waiting on your approval for something. And
Right.
again, now it's 9 o'clock, you want to approve it,
Right.
And
Yeah. Or you want changes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the communication is the biggest aspect.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're not mind, sorry. And you know, your
That's
VA
okay.
is not a mind reader, right? So,
Right.
so being clear on what's a VA, what's an online business manager. Because sometimes you can hire a VA and all she does is execute tasks. And
Yes.
but you want her to do more things. You want her to build systems. You want her to be the brains of your operations.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not what you hire, you know, but that's not who you hired, right?
Yeah.
You didn't hire a strategist, you hired somebody who is just going to complete tasks. So just being clear
Yes.
on, again, the level of skill sets, who you need, and so forth. And then just consistently measuring, I wouldn't say measuring, but just kind of following up with them. You know, follow up. Not just the communication piece, but say that, okay, make sure that they are doing things when they say they are doing. I don't know how many times I've heard stories of, I gave her this to do and she didn't do anything. You know, I come back and none of the work was done. Why? How did that happen? Where was the disconnect? Were there not any meetings? Were there not any project management systems or checklists in place to see that this was checked off? What do you mean she's been here for 3 months and she didn't do anything, right?
Wow.
And so I think that's just those are the biggest things. It's just kind of the communication, the follow up, make sure you're hiring the right person.
Yeah. Okay, those are really, really good. And so ultimately you're saying there should be expectations up front. And I'm also hearing, you know, how did you sit here for 3 months and they didn't do anything if you're not communicating? So some of that is also on the business owner as well, right? Hey, I'm checking in, seeing how XYZ is going, or understanding that we're meeting every week on, you know, for 30 minutes or 15 minutes so that we can see how a project is going to completion. That's one of the things we do, but my team and I, we talk every day. Like I ain't going a day without talking to my people, because
I'm in constant communication with my team.
Yes. You know, and it's necessary only because of the industry that I'm in, because we are on a times constraint. And I need to know, did the artwork get done? Did you do the ad placement? Did this happen? And I think each project plan that you have has to be different for each individual business. So I definitely hear you on that, and understanding early on what those expectations are. And I love the fact that you use project management in here as well. And those timelines and deadlines are so freaking important. I do have a question for you. And I always ask this of every single business owner that comes into the Brownstone. You are officially a neighbor. So congratulations. you see yourself now. But here's the other thing that I always like to ask every business owner when they come and sit down at the Brownstone's best business review. I always ask, what's the good, the bad, and the ugly of being a business owner for you?
So for me, the good is definitely the freedom and flexibility to move how I want to move. The bad, I'm trying to differentiate my bad and my ugly. Let's see. The bad, I would say in the beginning, the bad was that I was treating it like my baby. I was pouring so much into it, which is not a bad thing, but it was taking me away from what I usually went in for it from, is to be more present with my children. So being a business owner can take a lot of your time. So, but again, I think that's where getting the help you need comes into play. So you're not stuck in this space where, you know, and it wasn't bad because I enjoyed doing it. I love doing it, but it was bad because it was taking me away from, the things, the people I love.
Yeah.
The ugly is that, there's that corporate check come every 2 weeks. The 1st and the 15th, that corporate check comes when it's supposed to. You don't have to go looking for that check because you're getting paid on payday.
Yes.
So the ugly is that sometimes the clients sometimes you got, clients don't always pay when they want to. You've got your up seasons and then you've got your real low seasons, until you get to a steady space, right? So it's important to diversify your income, but that's the ugly. The ugly for me is waiting on it's looking at all these open invoices and just being like, man, when they gonna pay?
Right, exactly. I don't want to send you another reminder. It's been 90 days now. Yeah. Oh, I know. Ooh. And in that, being that you own Elly Virtually, your people, and this goes for anybody. When you're a business owner, you make sure your people eat first.
Yep.
So there are times because I'm a witness to this, where I say, well, I know my stuff, but you know what? I need these people. Let me make sure on payday, come Friday, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do for them. So it's always constantly, since you do have a team, you're looking out for them first as well, because you know that they make up who Elly Virtually is. Even though it's your baby, you still have to have those additional arms. And so making sure that your people are taken care of is paramount too. And I already know, because y'all, wait. Let's do this. Let's pull up where you can find Elly Virtually. Let's take a look. EllyVirtually.com. So is this where we'll be able to find information about the company and so forth? Okay.
Yes. EllyVirtually.com. You can also find me on social media on all platforms at Elly Virtually.
Excellent. So at Elly Virtually. Y'all spell it right now. Spell it right. Screenshot it if you need to. So you can go ahead and check out Elly Virtually. And so are there any last words for our audience today on what they can do to be their best selves and provide excellence within their organization without expanding the bodies in their offices? What should they do? Definitely reach out to you, first of all, but
I am big on automating where I can and delegating where I can't. So just really taking a deep dive in your process and see where are those things that we can automate. So that way we don't have to physically show up for this. And then what are those small things that we can delegate? There are some things that you don't have to be the one in your business that has to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. You know what, Linda, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us today here in the Brownstone. We do appreciate you for taking time to spend with us. And there will be more information available for our neighbors at brownstoneworldwide.com and in Brownstone Living Magazine. So we're excited to have you here. We thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to us, because it's all kinds of things you could have been doing, but you came to hang out with us today. So we thank you for that. We do. Listen, come and hang out with us in the Brownstone, everybody. Brownstoneworldwide.com for more news, information, and lifestyle tips that you can use, as well as more information on Linda Ingram and Elly Virtually. Listen, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you all today. Come back and check us out again, because, of course, there's more from the people in the neighborhood. We'll see you around. Have a great day, everybody.